It's a terrific, if somewhat wet, Tuesday evening here in Lagos. Hello and welcome to Game On here on News Central. My name is Babatunde Koiki, and for the last 24 hours or so, we have been tracking so many sports stories from across the world. Of course, you do know that the ITTF Africa Cup is currently going on. Nigeria's key players, star players, Africa's best players are all gathered in Tunis, fighting it out for four slots in the men, 4 slots in the women's to qualify for the upcoming World Cup in Macau, China later this year as well. Then, of course, the zonal qualifiers for the upcoming National Sports Festival has also started across Nigeria. We're tracking that as well. Then there's also a man who says that over his dead body will he concede the Premier League title. We'll be talking about him as well on the show. But don't forget, you can join the show via our social media links, Facebook, Instagram, X. That's where we're streaming. And of course, we're also on channel 422 on DSTV. Channel 274 Star Times. That GoTV matter, I will not say any more than that, but it will come to you like a thief in the night. We will shock you. That is one thing we will do. But I have two great guys with me tonight in the studio because it is Tuesday. You can be guaranteed that Wale Adigun will be here. Wale Adigun, of course, is a broadcaster and podcaster. He always comes through on Tuesdays and quite regularly on the show. Is a key part of our offering here, always bringing a fresh perspective, fresh if somewhat controversial perspective to things. Then there's also Toyin Ibitoye, former media officer of the Super Eagles of Nigeria and a former special assistant to the former Minister of Sports Development, bringing years of journalistic and, of course, administrative experience to the show as well. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming through on the night. It's an absolute pleasure. I'm sure you've also been watching what has been happening over the last 24 hours as well, from the repercussions from the the Istanbul Derby, everybody calling for Mourinho's head, saying the things he said or saying things he didn't do. The fallout of, Jamie Carragher's rather rash comments regarding the status of the Africa Cup of Nations as well. It's been a really, really interesting last 48 hours. Wouldn't you say, Tony?
Yeah, it's been a lot to talk about. Of course, so many interesting issues, diverse issues, holding a lot of interest for us. The Jamie Carragher issue, well, I like to take a different look at things.
Okay.
I like to pick out lessons that we can learn from what these guys say, rather than just react, the bandwagon way. I think the message from Jamie is, I don't know whether we'll talk about it later on, is for us to look inwards and see how we can make the Africa Cup of Nations truly a premium brand for Africa.
Okay.
Not hosting it in Christmas season this time, and then it's Easter another time, and then it's a New Year event in another year, and then it's a mid-season event in another year. Let's place the Africa Cup of Nations where it should be consistently.
It's kind of difficult, Tony, because of course the diverse climatic conditions on the African continent will always dictate that the
diverse climatic conditions in Europe, the diverse climatic conditions in Copa America, diverse climatic conditions in Asia. The tournaments are fixed.
I kind of disagree, Tony, because in Europe, when it's winter, you know it's winter. When it's summer, you know it's summer. When it's spring, you know it's spring.
But if I could chime in.
Yeah, please.
Tunde, when did we start this whole shifting? The AFCON naturally was January. From years past. I mean,
March.
From like 2002, or even Nigeria-Ghana 2000, we always had the AFCON in January, February.
Yes.
Sometimes maybe a bit of March. It has always been like that, but recently, with the new leadership of the
African football,
not even with Motsepe. It was even before Motsepe, the other guy from
Ahmad.
Ahmad. That was when we started trying to bow to the whims and caprice of FIFA or Europe. Let us have our calendar. One thing you know about the World Cup, or one thing about the Euros, is that the Euros will always be held at the end of the football season in the summer. So we also need consistency, and that's why they don't take us serious. I mean, look at Klopp's comment a couple of years back on the AFCON being a second-grade tournament. Now look what Jamie Carragher said. I think Carragher maybe has not placed his thoughts really right, but I think that he makes some fine points in the fact that you look at the major tournaments in world football. The World Cup is number 1, number 2 is the Euros, number 3 is the Copa America, and you start talking about the AFCON. Let's be very, very honest with ourselves.
But it still does not change the fact that it
is a major tournament. It's a major tournament.
Worthy of respect.
But it's worthy of respect, but crucially, it might be unpopular, but the AFCON also has shown over the years that it lacks the ability to be able to install an African as a Ballon d'Or winner. That's the truth. Look at the last AFCON that went in Ivory Coast. None of the players from Ivory Coast made the Ballon d'Or. Even the only player that made from Africa ended 11-12th and even won bronze. Ademola Lookman.
So is that a question of European bias? Or is that
the truth of it is that the Ballon d'Or is European bias. That is the truth.
Exactly.
So that is the truth.
Another issue.
Perfect. That's what I want to hear.
Another issue is this. No one single tournament makes you a Ballon d'Or winner.
True.
Not one.
It's a combination of your
It's a
performances.
combination of whatever you do over the season.
That is why the argument is whether Salah will be crowned Ballon d'Or
contrary to that, guys, Rodri won the Ballon d'Or, and the Euros that Spain did win was a contributing factor.
And then the Champions League.
And the Champions League.
Yeah, he didn't win the Champions League.
And then
They still won the
So basically, Tony's right. It's a combination of performances over a period of time.
Even Lamine Yamal finished in the top 10 or top 12, had a great Euros.
But I honestly still believe that the Africa Cup of Nations is deserving of respect, and Europe should really begin to afford it. Stop this snobbishness that if it's not European, it is second grade.
Europe is not attacking the AFCON. It's Jamie Carragher that attacked the
well, some people say that Jim Carragher's his words are kind of symptomatic.
So Europe are going about their own business the way they want to go about their own business. So they are not bothered about whether you're talking about the AFCON.
I think I see the long-term thing of what you're saying. If we get it right on the African continent here, we will not need for our players to go to Europe in order to command the kind of respect that we want.
I mean, look at the AFCON, the CAF Champions League draws. The CAF Champions League draws was conducted in Doha. I mean, how much of a respect are you going to get?
Don't break my heart.
But the good thing here is that the AFCON has shown is on the upward curve. Look at the numbers, the viewership. It is on the upward. CAF needs to.
The quality of the football,
CAF needs to put on their thinking cap, because that draws for the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederations Cup being held in Doha. It was devoid of any kind of proper thinking.
It was about
money.
Let's move on. Let's talk about some people who are doing pretty well and who are also gaining continental and even global respect as well. We'll talk about Africa's finest table tennis players, because the 2025 ITTF African Cup is currently going on in Tunis, and Nigerian stars like Aruna Quadri are doing brilliantly well. Quadri was on the table today, beating Benin Republic's Salifu Abdelkader 11-7, 11-5, 11-3. To top Group 2 with 4 points. Earlier on, he had actually begun his title quest with another 3-0 win over Tunisia's Sabi Maishal. Fellow Nigerian Olajide Omotara also impressed, winning all 3 group stage games against Côte d'Ivoire's Dosso Ben Moussa, Algeria's Keruf Sami, and Zambia's Charles Banda. And his flawless run secured a place in the tournament's round of 16. And with both players in top form, Nigeria are hoping to claim that the men's singles title at the prestigious Continental Championship. Matthew Kuti, rising youngster in Nigeria, he also defeated Buras Abubakar, but fell to Algeria's Borussa Medi and will face Benin Republic's Alabi next. Meanwhile, in the women's division, Fatima Bello actually progressed to the second round, securing a walkover victory over Zambia's Kunda Mubanga in the women's singles. She also defeated her Madagascar opponent as well. They also not doing too badly as well. Fashola also defeated Ghana's Juanita Bote and will face Algeria's Tami Haja next. So the Nigerian team, the Nigerian contingent is not doing too badly, gentlemen.
Expectedly, this is still early days. We of course expect them to play up to the end, where probably we'll get all Nigerian final if it's possible. But don't forget that Omar Asa is also here, and he's also gotten off to a good start. So these are early days, but it's good to build the momentum and build the confidence, and we'll see how it goes. But congratulations to those who have done well. I'm hoping that Kuti can also, make some progress and go as far as he can and begin to rub shoulders with some of the top contenders in this game.
In this tournament, Wale?
Not a bad start. I've been following closely what's happening in Tunisia. First of all, Tunisia have hosted a world-class tournament. I must say that. I think African table tennis, anywhere you've seen their competitions, it's always world-class. And the fact that Soling, the ITTF president, even at that wide, or should he also, give credit to them. But I saw Saidi Dowu. Who now plays for Congo Brazzaville.
Yeah.
Yep. He defeated the young boy we talked about last week, Wasim Esid, 3-1. So strong performance from Said. Jide also looked good, like you mentioned. 1 win, 1 loss. But Aruna started solidly, and
no. Jide actually he wiped his.
2 wins.
No, 3 wins.
Jide has 3 wins.
3 wins.
Win, 1 loss.
Yeah. So Jide also has looked really strong. But once the knockout round starts tomorrow, remember it's a 3-day tournament.
Yeah.
And once it starts tomorrow, the boys get started being separated from the men. But we know that things are still looking likely to be Omar and Aruna Quadri, and we love it. Bring it on. This is one of the biggest subplots of African table tennis.
Well, some people are also saying that it's Dina Meshref and Agoda who are also angling for the men's singles title as well. But they're also hoping that Aminat Fashola and Fatima Bello can put paid to those ambitions, but they really, really have to be on top of their game. Let's leave Tunis alone for a minute and come back to Nigeria, where the zonal qualifiers for the upcoming National Sports Festival is also they've all started all across the world, across Nigeria. The Northeast Zonal Team Sports Competition actually kicked off in Damaturu, Yobe State, marking a crucial phase in the selection of athletes and sports for the 2025 National Sports Festival. Don't forget, that one is coming up in Ogun State this May. Governor of the state of Yobe State, Governor Mai Malabuni, also represented by his secretary Mohammed Balumi, reaffirmed the state's commitment to host a smooth and successful tournament while encouraging fair competition. He assured all participants of their safety and urged them to embrace Yobe State's hospitality. Now, the 4-day tournament features teams from Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Taraba, and Yobe. They'll be competing in football, hockey, volleyball, beach volleyball, basketball, handball, and Abula. And of course, here in the Southwest as well, the Lagos State Sports Commission Director General Lekon Fatodu, he's also urged Team Lagos athletes to give their best as they compete in the Southwest Zonal eliminations for the upcoming National Sports Festival. And of course, that Sports Festival is actually set for Ogun State, but the zonal qualifiers will be held in Ibadan, Oyo State. Team Lagos will face Oyo, Osun, Ondo, and Ekiti in various sports as well. Fatodu emphasized Lagos' reputation for sporting excellence and encourage athletes to embody dedication, discipline, and sportsmanship. The contingent has 208 athletes and 15 officials, and Lagos will compete in football, basketball, handball, volleyball, cricket, hockey, beach volleyball, and Abula. All aiming to qualify for both the male and female categories of those sports. Tony, it seems everybody is busy, even if the Northeast, the Northwest Zone qualifiers has also started in Kaduna as well. Yeah, going on apace. The action has been relentless. So everybody doing the best that they can to qualify for the National Sports Festival. But I think with the qualifiers currently going on, it is safe to say, is it that we will have a National Sports Festival in May?
Well, that's in the calendar. Looks like. That's.
if the qualifiers
are going on as planned, that they will be at this time, then probably they are working towards being able to host the National Sports Festival in May. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and see how it goes. So, but they're following the calendar, and everything looks like it's on course.
Wale, what your thoughts?
No, the initial calendar was that the sports festival was going to hold in
2024.
Exactly. So because the qualifiers are on doesn't mean that it is still on schedule.
Can you show some kind of optimism?
No.
Is it possible?
Let me give you a bigger example.
Okay.
The Women's Africa Cup of Nations, they were done the qualifiers. They didn't go on last year. No. You only have the WAFCON coming up later this year. It was supposed to be last year, if I'm correct.
You know the interesting thing, Wale, we haven't even played the 2025 WAFCON. We've already started playing qualifiers for 2026.
Yeah, so with the Nigeria example, I'm optimistic. Looks like things are gathering pace. I like the fact that the regions, even in the South, the qualifiers are on. I can confirm that Team Delta were even in action in football today. One of our players from Ogele Rovers, our goalkeeper, Bartholomew, was...
Hold on. Wait. Team Delta was in action in football.
Yep.
The goalkeeper from Uganda Rovers
is
Wait, is this competition open to professional footballers now?
Yeah, so I mean, the Nationwide League One is the semi-pro league.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not fully
I see.
professional.
It's amateur.
It's amateur.
It's
so,
amateur. Oh, fine.
that is the in way for us. So I like the fact that even there's also the South-South sports program. I think we talked about it last week as well.
Yeah, true.
I love the whole activity. Hopefully it leads to, because see,
You can't other sports festival.
yeah, exactly. You can't do all of these things and May comes and this competition doesn't hold. It means that all these players, all these athletes have wasted precious time that they could probably use to focus on their studies or probably do other things. So I'm hoping that all of these activities happening in Nigeria simultaneously leads to May and leads to Ogun State, and we have the sports festival holding.
Amen
it's
to
very
that.
important.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty heartbreaking that it's already the end of February and some federations have not even held one competition. In this year alone, we have not seen one athletics competition. None has been held. And there's a World Indoor Championships coming up in just a few weeks as well. Well, let us just move on, because we are speaking about athletics now, and the Confederation of African Athletics Zone 2 has relocated the inaugural Under-18 and Under-20 Championships to Accra, Ghana, due to logistics reasons. Initially, it was set for Dakar, Senegal, but the event will now take place in May or June at the University of Legon Sports Complex. Remember that place? That was the venue for the last Africa Games in Ghana. The CAA Zone 2 President Tonobok Okowa has praised Ghana's hosting capabilities, citing last year's successful senior championships, and the competition serves as preparation for the Africa Youth Championships, which will hold in July. Meanwhile, the Confederation of African Athletics is set to hold its yearly Congress in Oran, Algeria on the 12th and 13th of July 2025, before the start of this continental sporting event. The Athletics Federation of Nigeria has rescheduled the Awoture Elaya Under-15, Under-18 and Under-20 Championships in Asaba to align with this change, and these trials will help Nigeria to select its representatives for that regional event. They were supposed to have been held earlier, but they were rescheduled. Hopefully these trials will go ahead as planned, because it's really important, Tony, that we begin to have a proper calendar. Now, how difficult can it be for the AFN to have a calendar of events, well spaced, well spread out, and hope to stick to it? But some will say it's a question of sponsorship, that there's only so much that the AFN can do, that if the private bodies do not come to sponsor these tournaments, these competitions, it's all fit and complete.
That's why the AFN have got to have a very strong marketing department or committee that will help to get the funds. If you are in charge of athletics, there are no excuses. You have to do the work. Athletics is maybe perhaps second to football in Nigeria in terms of the appeal and the spread. So it shouldn't be a problem talking to people. They have a couple of sponsors, high-profile sponsors, who can foot the bill. They have. I know they have a bank. They have a few of them. So it's all about the planning. Drawing out immediately you start the year, you should have an idea of what you are doing next, and then be able to follow through. So there are no excuses for not hosting competitions. I hope the AFN can, put the house in order and get to work.
I sincerely hope so too, because a lot of these athletes have been in training. I can confirm that a lot of them are already in training as far back as early January. We know they're doing excellent.
The season has started already.
It started already. I mean, the World Indoors have started. Indoor season is already on in Europe as well. There'll be more indoor championship. The tour has also started as well. Nigeria athletes here in Nigeria are yet to compete at any level at all. So something really needs to be done very quickly. Still talking about the need for speed, let's talk about Formula One. Red Bull have released the first images of their 2025 car that Max Verstappen will use to fight for a 5th consecutive world title. The team has described the RB21 as, I quote, an evolution of the cars that, in the hands of Verstappen, have won every driver's championship since the regulation in 2022. Now, the images released gave little away about the final details of the new car, with Red Bull known to be incredibly secretive at this time of the year. Verstappen has won 4 consecutive championships with Red Bull, but the team's dominance started to stall last year when it ran up against various limitations to the RB20. Red Bull's struggles saw it finish 3rd in the Constructors' Championship last year and resulted in the team manager management replacing Sergio Perez with Liam Lawson over the winter. And the new RB21 is actually made its debut at filming day in Bahrain today, before all 10 teams will share the same track for preseason testing from Wednesday to Friday. And the first race of the new year, gentlemen, is supposed to take place on the 16th of March in Brisbane, Melbourne, Australia, and everyone is looking forward to that as well. So Red Bull hoping that they can win the Constructors' Championship as well. What was his name? Sir Lewis Hamilton has moved to Ferrari. Lots of moving and chopping and changing, new faces on the grid. Hopefully we will see another exciting Formula One season. But if there's an engine, there's a track, and there's Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton on the track, you can be sure that there will be fireworks. Let's leave that side. Let's talk some boxing, right, gentlemen? A high-stakes bout between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this April could determine the next challenger for pound star Canelo Alvarez. The long-anticipated fight, which was originally set for April 26, following the cancellation of their 2022 fight following Benn's failed drug test. Now, both fighters are eager to prove themselves, with Eubank Jr. previously calling for a showdown against Alvarez, and a victory could secure a title shot in early 2026. Meanwhile, Alvarez remains the WBA, WBC, and WBO super middleweight champion after a unanimous decision over Edgar Berlanga. He relinquished the IBF title, but we hear that he's supposed to fight for that one before probably putting a pen to paper regarding a speculated potential blockbuster between him and Terence Crawford later this year. So it's interesting, Wale, how this fight has spanned generations. Now, Conor Benn, Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Sr. fought 3 incredible fights. The animosity between both men it was legendary. Now, years later, their sons are going head to head again. I've heard of the sins of the father being visited on the son, but the transgressions or a family feud that can span generations, that's something to admire.
And credit to Turkey Alauski is capitalizing that and brought those two guys to the table again, negotiate on the table. Let's do this. And the world is going to watch this because remember, this fight should have happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But Ben failed drugs test twice, and Eubank had to go on his ways. Has fought 3 times, has won 3 times. But credit to Ben, he's come back, fought a couple of times. He's also gotten his way, so he's got the momentum going for him. And the stage is set. I believe that they had a press conference today in Manchester.
Yeah.
There's another one in London. So the tour has already started for the fight coming up in April 26, and Turkey Alauski will definitely promote this one. We know he's just had a crazy weekend in Riyadh season that everyone is still talking about, although we know Daniel Dubois almost threw the span in the works of that. But I also love the undercard. If you've seen the undercard for this fight in April, it looks really good as well. But I hope that all of this doesn't even threaten the potential fight between Canelo and Terence Crawford before the end of the year.
I think I think that one is. Yeah. I think it's going to happen.
I think it's going to happen. But remember that the winner of this fight between Ben and Eubank Jr. Will hand the rights to face Alba, like Turkey said. It's going to be in 2026.
They will face Canelo, but they didn't necessarily say they will face Canelo for the undisputed.
So maybe
they will face Canelo down the line. So it's most likely down the line. But a lot of people are talking about the Saudis' undue influence in global sport as well, be it football, be it golf, be it tennis, now boxing. And some people are saying there should be a little of caution, because there are some dangerous things beginning to creep in. Yesterday on the show, we had the legendary Nnamdi Hollywood Boweita all the way from Los Angeles yesterday, and I was talking about the fact that Martin Bakole was absolutely unready for that fight against Joseph Parker. He came in on 2 days' notice. He was clearly out of shape, overweight, jet-lagged, stepped into the ring because he was offered a tremendous amount of money that anywhere else in the world, probably the Nevada Boxing Commission or the New York Boxing Commission, they would never sanction that fight. But because the bag was too much and was in Saudi and they're lowering standards because they want to see a show, that maybe the Saudis' undue influence is getting too much.
See, it's all about the money, Prof. It's all about the money. Bakole has made some good money. And remember, Bakole also is regarded as one of the deadliest fighters to avoid in that category.
Yeah,
Remember,
but money at the expense of his health.
Away from him.
Money at the expense of his health. I was actually hoping that Tony would weigh in on this as well.
Yeah,
because
we spoke about it when that fight came up.
Yeah.
That that's one of the downside to focusing too much on the money. You break all the rules. It becomes a lawless situation. And that's not good for the sport, because at the end of the day, you lose all the integrity, all the professionalism that makes sports what it is. Bakole that fight shouldn't have been licensed. It was danger. It was harmful. It was unethical. I mean, it broke every rule. It shouldn't have taken place. But then, because there was money on the table, the guy just went for the money, and at the end of it, what was the show? Was that a proper boxing fight? Was that something that you wanted to see if you were a boxing fan? The 2 rounds of sluggish and very boring ball fest. So that's the downside to it. When you place too much emphasis on the revenue and you place little attention to
I mean, it's a question of money to him, because one of the undercards. Hold on, Wale. On one of the Josh Padley, yes, we're going to talk about the game. He earned a life-changing amount of money. He says the money that Turki Al-Sheikh paid him to step in at short notice to fight Stevenson. The money that he paid him was enough for him to retire from his job as an electrician by day, and he wants to become a professional boxer. So the life-changing sums are so juicy that maybe these boxers are not thinking clearly enough.
And mind you,
it's a dangerous sport.
Josh Padley, let's also situate it really well, took this fight against Stevenson on short notice. In fact, I think 2-3 days before he came to Riyadh.
Same thing as Bakole,
But he made the way in. He checked. They checked him from health point of view if he was fit enough for the fight, and he was given the green light. And I think same also happened to Martin Bakole as well. I've told you, Martin Bakole, who was based in Scotland, although was in Congo when he got that call, also was in good condition. He was just up against because see, it was a two-way thing. Joseph Parker also was taking a risk. He didn't prepare for Bakole. He could have also gone the other way.
Parker had been in training, he'd been in camp, and he was fit.
I know that Bakole had not been in but hindsight is 2020. And then Bakole could have upset him.
Bakole didn't make the way in.
It was so late.
It was Frank Warren that made the way for him.
You know, it was so bad that but on that night, Bakole was actually wearing Daniel Dubois' gloves. There was no time to get him a fresh pair of gloves. I'm just saying, gentlemen, that look, it is only people or athletes who are alive that get to spend money. Boxing is a dangerous sport. At some point, we have to draw a line between the
Absolutely.
bank
you cannot draw a line. Like you've said, it is a dangerous sport. So every boxer that goes into that ring is aware of the risks involved.
If you're managing a boxer now and he's been asked to come for a fight at 2 days' notice and they offer you $5 million,
if my boxer is in prime condition and it tells me
no, he's not been in training. Maybe he was on holiday, like Bakole was eating powdered yam and everything.
So what
would you ask him to do?
I'm going to
$5 million.
I'm going to ask you guys.
Wale, you have not answered the question.
I'll answer your question.
No, answer it first.
I'm going to ask you.
Answer the question
I'm going to quickly say.
Answer the question first now.
Has not even told him about all of this.
Wale, answer the question. Would you tell your boxer to go for that fight?
Yeah, I'll tell him to go for the fight. The money's right. See, look, I don't want us to sound. I don't want us to sound hypocritical here.
We actually have to take a break.
It's all about the money.
Wale,
since the Saudis came into the game, they've upped the stakes. They've made it very much more juicy.
Wale, we have to take a break. You're watching Game On now. We'll be right back with the rest of the football after this. welcome back. You're still watching Game On here on News Central. I still have Toyin Bitoyi with me and Wale Adegun, who is more than happy to throw his boxer into the deep end because they know the risks. Let's talk about another really sad story here, and it's been one that's been trending over the last 72 hours. It has to do with a Nigerian footballer. Ugandan police are investigating the death of Abubakar Lawal, who reportedly fell from a third-floor balcony at Voicemail Shopping Arcade in Kampala. The 29-year-old striker for Vipers Sporting Club had visited a Tanzanian friend before the incident. He was rushed to the hospital but was pronounced dead on arrival. And Lawal, who joined Vipers in 2022 after playing for AS Kigali in Rwanda, helped the club secure a league and club double in 2023. His sudden passing has led to an outpouring of tributes from teammates and former clubs, including Nasarawa United here in Nigeria. And authorities are reviewing the CCTV footage and concluding investigations to determine the exact circumstances surrounding his death amid conflicting reports. Now, this is the report that the Nigerian authorities have released. In a statement, Abike Dabiri stated that, basically, the statement stated that this is pathetic and appears suspicious. We demand a thorough investigation, no cover-up at all, and this is so sad. The Nigerian government will ensure and demand a thorough and transparent investigation. May his soul rest in peace. That's Abike Dabiri Erewa, who is the Director General of the
CEO.
CEO. Abike
Commission also.
Exactly. But meanwhile, the Ugandan authorities themselves are also issuing. That's it there on your screen. The Kajansi Police Division is investigating circumstances surrounding the tragic death of Nigerian national Abubakar Lawal, professional football of February 24, 2025. Preliminary reports indicate that Lawal arrived at the shopping mall in his vehicle, registration number, to meet his friend Omari Naima, a Tanzanian national, residing in room 416 since February 2025. According to Naima, she left Lawal in the room preparing tea and proceeded to a game center within the mall. Shortly after, at approximately 8 a.m., Lawal reportedly fell from the balcony and was rushed to Entebbe Referral Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Items belonging to him, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know how to take this one, gentlemen. But
it's a head scratcher.
It's a head scratcher. It's a head scratcher. But I think it's only proper that the authorities in Kampala investigate this as closely and as clearly as possible. The other witness, in the case, says she left him in her room. Then she found out, how does someone just get up, walk to a balcony, and jump down? Now, there's a suspected foul play there, but a lot of people are not happy about that. But I think it's only proper that the Uganda authorities investigate this as thoroughly as possible. Tony.
Yeah, it's a really sad story, and I'm happy that the Nigerian government has stepped in. You don't treat the Nigerian national that way, and they will just sweep it under the carpet. So, as you said, I hope that thorough investigations can be carried out. Circumstances surrounding all that happened should be, looked into, and then bring whatever is responsible out for us to see, and then punish whoever is responsible for this. It's really sad that a man has gone out to make a living, play football, do what he loves, and has lost his life in the process. A really, really sad story. I
smell the rat. I don't understand how you drive from wherever your accommodation, drive somewhere, you go see someone, the person steps out, then you go and jump from the third floor. It doesn't happen. I'm sorry.
The story needs to be investigated.
You get leg.
In fact, the initial story I got was that it was a motorcycle accident.
Yeah.
Yes,
that was what we got.
That was the initial story that was out in the media.
So this casts a lot of doubt on what is happening. But the wider picture here is it's East Africa once again, And I remember earlier this year we talked about femicide in East Africa. This just doesn't put this part of Africa in good light, I must say. So
hold on, Wale. I mean, these kind of things happen everywhere, not necessarily.
No, it does.
In North America as well, there's gun violence as well.
I know. I'm only saying that this is East Africa once again. But I'm hoping that there is thorough investigation. This is not the last time we also talk about it here. So we'll get more information. Because it's important that his family also has a better understanding of what has
what transpired.
Really happened.
But the good thing about it, in those cases that you are referring to in East Africa, investigations were carried out, perpetrators were apprehended, and justice was meted out. So hopefully that will also happen in this case as well. Let's also tell you that the Nigeria's under-20 men's national team, the Flying Eagles, have arrived in Abidjan ahead of 2 friendly matches against Côte d'Ivoire's Young Elephants. The team was led by NFF Executive Committee member Ganiyu Majekodunmi, Majek, as we know him here, Tony, right? The squad includes 21 players, featuring Captain Daniel Bameyi, goalkeeper Ifeanyi Harcourt, and forwards Clinton Japhet and Olalekan Sulaiman Alabi. Coach Aliyu Zubairu's team will face Côte d'Ivoire at the Félix Houphouët Boigny Stadium on Wednesday, 4:30 p.m. Nigerian time. And a second game also is scheduled for Friday, the same venue. Of course, the friendlies will serve as preparatory tests for the 7-time African champions ahead of the CAF Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations in April. Both games will be played behind closed doors. Well, good preparation for the Nigerian national team, Wale, considering the fact that they were initially supposed to play against Egypt. That didn't happen because after both teams are drawn in the same group. But good test, Côte d'Ivoire.
Oh yeah, good test, and credit to the NFF as well for
immediately.
Yeah, for moving swiftly. We even had questions about should these players have returned back to their bases instead of them staying in training camps since they'll be playing Egypt. But the NFF has moved in swiftly, organized this friendly with the hosts, which really I think puts the Flying Eagles at a very good advantage as well. I mean, it gives you an understanding of
the terrain.
The terrain adapts as well to the weather conditions and everything. But are they coming back?
Really? To weather conditions? I mean, it is West Africa. Shouldn't it be the same climatic conditions?
Yeah, it's good that this is taking place. I like for our national teams to play test games, international test games, not just against local club sides. It helps the coach to identify 1 or 2 areas to work on before you go into the main tournament. So I wish them the best of luck, and I hope there won't be any injuries to, alter the coach, the plan of the coach, the technical crew as we get ready for this tournament. Don't forget the bigger picture is to finish amongst the top 4.
Yeah.
Get a semi-final ticket and book a World Cup place. So that's the task ahead of Coach Aliyu Zubairu.
Okay, we can only wish him all the very best. We had Aliyu Zubairu on our show sometime last year ahead of the Federation Cup final, and hopefully when he does qualify for the FIFA Under-20 World Cup, we will bring him back to the show. And while we mentioned something earlier on an absolute farce about how we haven't even played the 2025 Africa Cup, WAFCON Women's Africa Cup of Nations, but the qualifiers for the 2026 edition have already started, and the Super Falcons, their opponents in the next the next series of the qualifiers have been confirmed. Benin Republic is the team they will face, and the ladies from Benin Republic secured their place in the decisive round after a dominant performance over Sierra Leone, winning 5-2 on aggregate. Benin Republic will now face the Super Falcons in a 2-legged showdown for a spot at in the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. The winner across both legs will qualify for the tournament. Seems straightforward. None of the Benin Republic is not exactly one of the major teams in women's football, but pride goes before a fall.
Yeah, but it's good. Getting ready for 2026 WAFCON when we've not played the 2025. Well, CAF has a way of doing these things. We had one whole year to prepare for the tournament. You qualified, and then you had to wait 1 year. So it's the same thing. You qualify, and then you wait a whole year for the tournament.
Well, guys, let's move on very quickly to some interesting news coming out of England. And, Mikel Arteta is in the news because despite Arsenal falling 11 points behind Liverpool after the 1-0 loss to West Ham, Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta remains adamant that his team is still in the title race. With only 3 teams in Premier League history overcoming such a gap to win the title, the challenge is obviously very steep. However, the Gunners have a game in hand and a crucial match against Liverpool on the 10th of May. Before that setback, Arsenal had matched Liverpool's form over the last 3 months, winning 10 and drawing 5 games. Injuries to key players like Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz and Gabriel Martinelli have impacted their campaign, but Arteta is determined to keep fighting as Arsenal push to close the gap. And what was asked earlier today whether Arsenal should give up the title chase, Arteta retorted, "Over my dead body." Wale?
Yeah, I mean, like I tweeted a couple hours ago, if delusion was a human being, it will be named Mikel Arteta. But hey, you can understand. He's coach of the Gunners, and he has to say the right things to the media.
But again,
we will fight to the end.
Mathematically, it's not over.
Oh, it's not over. But we also know that, from a non-mathematical point of view, from a common sense point of view, the title race was over this last weekend when Arsenal lost against West Ham and City and lost at home to Liverpool. Liverpool are on hand to do 90 points. Even if they fall 1 or 2, drop a couple of points, they'll probably do 85.
Are you saying that Liverpool cannot go on a bad run?
See, if
4 or 5 consecutive
if Liverpool go on a bad run, they have shown us so far to go to this moment that they are unable to do it. They are unable.
Even they are unable to go on a bad run.
Exactly. Even the little wobble they had a couple of weeks ago where they dropped a couple of points here, they still got their wins against Wolves and they beat Man City. That's the truth. Also, you look at them, do they look like a team that can win the next 10 matches without their top strikers, without, lose their left back? That's the question here. So we have to apply some common sense in here. The Gunners have a game in hand that they have not even won yet. The Gunners still have to go to Anfield to play Liverpool. Let's apply common sense here. Don't let's apply mathematics here. The title race is over.
A lot of people say that church don't close, but
mathematics is still a little bit of logic and maybe common sense. But I mean, on paper, I think it looks over.
But on paper is where we are doing the mathematics now.
But professionally speaking, Arsenal have got to keep fighting.
Fighting for what?
You can't tell your players it's over. Just throw our hands in the air.
Yeah.
You have to keep playing.
When you say fighting for what? Fighting for a title.
Fighting. Yeah. Fight. Keep playing.
At best, if Arsenal are not careful, they lose tomorrow against Nottingham Forest. Forest close up on them.
See, they have a game in hand. No game is. You can't count the points until you win.
True.
But they have a game in hand. So let's see what happens when they win that one.
If they win that one.
If they win it. So there's still a lot of games to play. Teams can win, can lose, can
crazier things have happened.
Liverpool, stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
Liverpool do not look like a team that can lose one game for the remaining part of the season. But
they've only lost one
all
in 26.
Season. So, but Arsenal have got to keep playing to win their own games. And then leave the rest. Just win your own games and then see what happens.
Like we say in this part of the world, do your best.
Just do your own. Do your own.
Okay.
They still have something to play for anyway. They still in the Champions League.
Oh, yeah.
So anything can happen.
Yeah, they'll win the Champions League.
Let's talk about something that we don't understand in this part of the world. That has to do with ticket prices for football events. Because the Football Supporters Association in England have called on the Premier League to back a division-wide ticket price freeze next season as part of its Stop Exploiting Loyalty campaign. With many clubs currently setting prices for next season, the FSA warns that this is a critical moment to address rising costs. Brentford and Liverpool have pledged to freeze prices, but protests have erupted at clubs like Manchester United, Tottenham Hotspur, Manchester City. The FSA also demands protection for concessionary discounts and better fan engagement on ticketing issues. Manchester United fans recently protested after the club scrapped discounts for children and pensioners, pricing all members' tickets at £66. Meanwhile, City and Liverpool fans unveiled a joint banner opposing price hikes before the recent match. Toyi, this is a country where we throw the stadium open. So we don't know, very people probably know how much a ticket costs in the NPFL, but it's instructive that we learn from things like this. But it's also clear that we have a long way to go.
We have a long way to go, but we should start the journey. But it comes down to economic power, and when there's a structure, you know what the prices should be years, months before games. So you make your plans, So it's very strange to us in this part of the world, but it is something that we also have to start to think about. But I'm happy that it's catching up. That season ticket, match ticket idea is catching up very fast on the domestic scene. You see clubs selling tickets,
right to sporting leagues, even in the NNL.
So it's a culture that is catching up, and a time is going to come. Supporters will form a bond, form an association like you have in England, and be able to negotiate these ticket prices for their games.
But will that time come before you and I pass?
No, we are still like 50, we are 50 years away from that. I've always maintained
50 years.
I've always maintained it. Football in Nigeria should never be free to fans. It should never.
You don't want the governors to throw the gates open?
No, it should never be free. You appreciate the game better. You love your team better when you pay to watch it. That's the truth. If it is even 100 naira, pay to watch your team. And that's why I cringed. The last team to do it recently was 2 weeks ago, Enyimba. I think it was after they got knocked out of the CAF Conference Cup.
It looks like Enyimba like to be doing it every time now.
Through the gates open, I'm like, this is a club that's won the CAF Champions League twice. Has any CAF Champions League winning club thrown the gates open? No.
Alabi?
In fact, the truth of it is, our clubs don't realize that there are 3 major ways of revenue.
True.
Gate takings, merchandise, and television money. Television money is 0. Yep. Merchandise, maybe a bit. Because I see Enyimba sell their jerseys for some 25, 30. I mean, that's decent. But gate takings is something that you make your money at least twice a month.
You're forgetting that this is Nigeria. Revenue actually comes from government.
And when you make money from the gates, you have to guarantee that those guys have enjoy
the match day experience.
Excellent match day experience. So that's basically, the way to make sure that they keep coming back for more.
Because in any business, any business enterprise, they'll tell you that returning customers are actually your most important asset because they know exactly what they're paying for and they keep coming back.
They're coming back for more.
Finally, gentlemen, let's talk about what's another major story that has erupted over the last 24 hours. It has to do with the fallout from the Istanbul derby between the Galatasaray and Fenerbahce. Ended goalless yesterday. Galatasaray is still 6 points clear of Fenerbahce in the race for the title with, I think, 12 games to go. But Fenerbahce have dismissed Galatasaray's claims that Jose Mourinho made racist remarks after Monday's goalless league derby. Galatasaray announced plans to take legal action and report Mourinho to FIFA and UEFA over comments he made about players, about their bench's reaction during the game. Fenerbahce insists his words were misinterpreted and not racist. Mourinho had also criticized the Turkish referees, stating that the match would have been much worse without a foreign official, further angering Galatasaray. The club accused him of repeatedly making derogatory statements about Turkish football. The result, of course, like I said, left Galatasaray still firmly in the title race. But are people just overreacting? The man said, look, the people on the bench are jumping up and down like monkeys. Well, let's just listen to what Jose Mourinho said.
I have also to thank the referee, because with the Turkish referee, after the big dive in the first minute and their bench jumping like monkeys on the top of the kids, with the Turkish referee, you would have a yellow card after 1 minute, and after 5 minutes I would have to change him. So thankfully it was perfect experience for him.
Okay guys, we're actually pressed for time. So your honest opinion, was this an abusive or racist comment?
So this is overreactionary. For someone who's never had any racial undertones or any racial issues in his over 20, 25 years as manager that we've known him for, why would he do it on the night? You know, so I think this is an overreaction, but we also know there's bad blood between Gal and Fenerbahce.
It's not bad blood. So your thoughts?
And then for me, as a manager, be mindful what you say. The world is on edge. Any little talk, any little speech is very out of context. So as a manager, you have to be careful not to feed the narratives of those who have negative stories to spread.
I remember one year Serena Williams was actually playing a game in, I can't remember the tournament, and the commentator described her as using guerrilla tactics, and he was fired for it. So, but one thing I know is that it's been funny because Africans here have actually been reacting, and these were Turks that he was referring to. He didn't call Africans, but it is Africans who are feeling pain. But that's what it is. Thank you very much, Tony, for coming through. Wale Adigun also for coming through as well. And of course, the guys behind the scenes who made this possible, my producers, and also my director. But before we go, we want to end the show with an absolutely wild tale, one that will blow your mind. Snooker legend Jimmy White. Well, he was a whirlwind snooker player who dazzled fans on the table, but had his fair share of chaos and controversy off it. Known as one of the greatest players never to win a world title, White battled personal demons before turning his life around. But nothing tops the surreal night in 1996 when, grieving his late brother Martin, White took things to an extreme. After a heavy night of drinking, he broke into the Undertaker's facility, retrieved his brother's body, and took him on one final pub crawl, going from bar to bar, buying drinks for himself and his brother. A bizarre mix of sorrow and celebration that lasted hours before the authorities stepped in. No charges, just sympathy, but it was an absolutely crazy night. That's our show. Many thanks again for coming through. Game On makes a return tomorrow night. My name is Babatunde Koiki. Wish you a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.